On the morning of November the 11th, 2009, a 15-year-old boy named Blake Robbins walked into Harriton High School in suburban Philadelphia. It was a Wednesday. Nothing unusual about it, until he was called to the office. The assistant vice principal, a woman named Lindy Matsko, sat across from him and told him calmly that she had evidence, photographic evidence, that he had been engaging in improper behaviour. At home. Blake didn't understand what she meant. He had been at home, in his bedroom, alone. She showed him the photograph. It had been taken by the webcam on his school-issued laptop, in his room, while he was sitting at his desk. He had no idea the camera was on. He had no idea anyone was watching. In his hand, you could see small, oblong objects. The school believed they were pills. They were Mike and Ike candy. But here's the thing that matters, and this is what changes everything. His laptop had never been reported stolen. Nobody had asked for it back. No alert had been filed. No one had told him there was any issue with his computer. So why was the camera on? To understand what happened, you need to understand where it happened. Lower Merion Township sits just west of Philadelphia, along what locals call the Main Line, a stretch of wealthy suburbs that line the old Pennsylvania Railroad route out of the city. It is the wealthiest school district in the entire state of Pennsylvania, one of the wealthiest in the United States. Median household income in the area exceeded $111,000 at the time, with median home values approaching $500,000. Harriton High School, where Blake was a sophomore, was one of two high schools in the district. It was, by every measure, an elite institution, well-resourced, high-performing, the kind of school parents moved across cities to get their children into. In 2007, the district launched what it called its one-to-one laptop program. The idea was simple and genuinely progressive for the time. Every high school student would receive their own Apple MacBook. They could take it home, use it to study, research, communicate. The school would stay connected to students through technology. By 2008, 2,306 MacBooks had been issued. What the students were not told, what their parents were not told, was that each one of those laptops came with something else installed. Software called LANrev, and inside that software, a feature called TheftTrack. TheftTrack worked like this. If a laptop was reported lost or stolen, a school IT administrator could remotely activate the software. Once activated, it would do two things automatically, every 15 minutes, for as long as it remained on. It would take a screenshot of whatever was on the screen, and it would take a photograph through the webcam, capturing whatever was in front of the camera. The images were sent silently back to a server at the school. No notification, no warning light, no sound. The green indicator light beside the camera did not turn on. The software was designed for theft recovery. Find the thief, get the laptop back, shut it off. That was the intention. But intentions and what actually happened, those turned out to be very different things. The school's IT department kept no formal log of when the tracking was activated, who authorized it, or when it was supposed to be turned off. There was no oversight system, no second approval required. Only 2 people in the IT department had the administrative access to switch it on. And once it was on, it kept running.
Every 15 minutes. Click. Screenshot. Photo. Whether the laptop was in a library, a cafe, or a teenager's bedroom at midnight, it didn't matter. The software didn't know. It just kept taking pictures. Blake Robbins came to the IT help desk at Harriton High School on October 20th, 2009, with a broken screen. His main laptop, the one originally issued to him, was damaged. The school gave him a loaner, a temporary replacement while his was being repaired. This is documented in the official independent investigation report. The loaner was designated internally as HHS Student 38. Blake took it home. Here's where the school's own explanation starts to fall apart. The district later claimed that TheftTrack was activated on Blake's loaner because he had not paid a required $55 insurance fee, and that without that fee, they considered the laptop to be in his possession without proper authorization. Not stolen, not missing, just technically unauthorized. So they turned on the camera. For this reason, a $55 unpaid fee, the school began photographing a 15-year-old boy in his home every 15 minutes, without telling him, without telling his parents, and without any court order, any warrant, or any legal authority to do so. The photographs started accumulating. Blake in his room. Blake at his desk. Blake sleeping. Blake in various states of undress. Screenshots of his private instant messages to friends. His conversations. His private life, frame by frame, building into a file that no one told him existed. For 2 weeks this continued. By the time anyone looked at what had accumulated, there were over 400 photographs and screenshots of Blake Robbins alone. And then came November 11th. Lindy Matsko, the assistant vice principal, called him in. She had seen the photographs. She had seen the image of Blake holding what looked to her like pills, and she had decided this constituted evidence of improper behavior at home. She confronted him with a photograph taken in his own bedroom, by his own laptop, that he had no idea was watching him. Blake told her it was candy, Mike and Ike candy. She was unconvinced. When Blake went home that evening and told his parents, his father, Michael Robbins, went back to the school the next day. He sat across from Lindy Matsko and asked her directly, "Does the school have the ability to remotely activate any student's webcam at any time?" She confirmed that yes, they did. Not just Blake's, any of them, at any time, even if the laptop was not being used, even if the student was sitting in their bedroom at 2 a.m. with the lid open, thinking they were alone. Michael Robbins walked out of that school and called a lawyer. The Robbins family's attorney, Mark Holtzman, filed suit on February 11th, 2010. The lawsuit alleged violations of the Fourth Amendment, the constitutional protection against unreasonable search, as well as the Electronic Communications Privacy Act
and the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act. It sought class action status on behalf of all 1,800 students in the district's laptop program. The school's initial response was to minimize. The webcam feature had only been activated 42 times over 14 months, they said, and only to find missing or stolen computers. Then Holtzman filed a motion demanding the release of all photographs taken of Blake. What came back was not 42 activations.
There were over 400 photographs of Blake Robbins alone, taken over a 2-week period. Images of him sleeping. Images of him partially dressed. Screenshots of his private instant messages to friends. His father's face appeared in some of them. Michael Robbins, a man who had never signed any consent form, never agreed to any monitoring, had been photographed inside his own home through his son's school laptop. The school said it found nothing inappropriate in the images. That was not the point. The FBI opened a criminal investigation. As the investigation deepened, conducted by a law firm hired by the school district itself, running for 10 weeks and reviewing 500,000 pages of documents and 19 terabytes of data, the full picture emerged. Over 2 years, TheftTrack had been activated on 146 occasions. It had captured more than 56,000 images. Some sources put the final number even higher, over 66,000. Of the 2,306 laptops issued, 36 had been used to photograph students inside their homes. Some of those students had never reported a missing laptop. Some had never had any issue with their computers at all. A second student, Jalil Hassan, came forward with his own lawsuit after realizing his laptop had been tracked for months, triggered when he accidentally left it at school on a Friday and a teacher handed it to IT. The tracking software was activated when the computer was returned to him Monday morning and left running for months. For about 40 students total, the cameras kept taking photographs long after whatever supposed incident had triggered the activation was resolved, because no one had turned them off. The school's own internal investigation concluded that mistakes had been made. It also uncovered something that the district would have preferred to stay buried. Through the discovery process, the legal procedure by which both sides in a lawsuit exchange relevant documents, emails from the school's IT department were uncovered. One of them described the webcam photographs of students as, quote, a little LMSD soap opera. A colleague replied, I know, I love it. Another email, written before the Robbins lawsuit broke, showed an IT staff member raising concern that parents should perhaps be informed that their children's laptops could be remotely activated. The email warned that there could be a huge uproar if parents found out. Virginia DiMedio, the district's Director of Technology and Information Services, replied, There is no way that I would approve or advocate for the monitoring of students at home. I suggest you take a breath and relax. Parents were never informed. And separately, in a detail that the Spy High documentary on Amazon Prime surfaced in 2025,
emails from the IT department showed that they had been able to track the precise location of Blake's loaner laptop throughout the entire period. They knew where it was. They knew it was in his home. They knew it had not been stolen. They had that information. And they kept the camera running anyway.
In August 2010, after months of investigation involving the FBI, the U.S. Attorney's Office, and the Montgomery County District Attorney, federal prosecutor Zane David Meminger issued a statement. There would be no criminal charges. The investigation had not found evidence that would establish beyond a reasonable doubt that anyone involved had criminal intent. The school district paid $610,000 to settle the two civil lawsuits. Blake Robbins received $175,000 placed in a trust. He would receive $25,000 up front. A second student received $10,000. The remaining $425,000, the majority of the settlement, went to the lawyers. The school suspended the tracking program. It overhauled its laptop policies. Several officials remained employed by the district. No one was charged with a crime. No one went to prison. No one was fired.
Blake Robbins was 15 when Lindy Matsko showed him a photo of himself taken in his bedroom without his knowledge. He was 16 when the story went national. He was 18 when he left Lower Merion for Los Angeles, and he has never returned. Now 30, he has built a career as a creative producer in Los Angeles, working in media and managing clients. He is active on social media. His sister, Paige, filed her own lawsuit years later, alleging that the webcam had activated while she was in the bathroom or in the nude or partially dressed. That case was also settled. School said no one intentionally spied on students. The FBI said there was no criminal intent. The independent investigation said it was negligence, not malice. But there are questions that no investigation ever fully answered. The software took a photograph every 15 minutes automatically, with no human required to press anything. But someone had to turn it on. Someone looked at the photographs of Blake holding what they thought were pills. Someone decided to show those photographs to a 15-year-old in an office without telling his parents first. Someone described 56,000 photographs of minors in their homes as a little soap opera and said they loved it. And someone, after the tracking software confirmed that Blake's laptop was sitting safely inside his home, not stolen, not missing, location known, made the decision to leave the camera running for 2 more weeks. The law decided that wasn't a crime. But think about what that actually means. Right now, somewhere in the world, there are millions of students sitting at home with school-issued laptops open on their desks, work-issued devices on their kitchen tables, company phones charging on their nightstands. And the truth, the one thing WebcamGate made undeniable, is that the little green light next to your camera is not the only way to know if someone is watching. Blake's light never turned on, not once, in 2 weeks, in 400 photographs. The camera was silent. Room felt private. And somewhere, on a server he had never heard of, in a building he trusted, images of him sleeping were filing themselves away, one every 15 minutes. While he had absolutely no idea, the school called it a mistake. Blake called it his bedroom. This was a real case. Every detail in this video is documented in federal court records, FBI statements, the school district's own independent investigation, and the 2025 Amazon Prime documentary Spy High, executive produced by Mark Wahlberg. If you found this story unsettling, you should, because the technology that made WebcamGate possible in 2009 is not more restricted today. It is more widespread, more capable,
and more embedded in the devices we carry everywhere. The question Blake never thought to ask, is this camera on, is one worth asking more often. If this story got to you, there's another one on this channel. The link is on screen now.